Here's a question worth sitting with. The UK government says AI is going to halve how long it takes to approve a new building, 8 weeks down to 4. And every AEC feed I follow has been sharing the same headline for months. But here's the part almost nobody is saying out loud. The fastest, most measurable speed up in this whole program didn't come from AI at all. It came from a spreadsheet-shaped idea most engineers would find boring. I'm Hogan, and I build vertical AI for AEC as a founder, not as a commentator. So I actually care about the difference between a ship tool and a slide. What the UK is doing with planning permission is the clearest live case study we've got of vertical AI hitting a regulated workflow. And the story the press is telling about it is honestly wrong in a way that costs you money if you're a builder. I want to walk through 6 points on what actually shipped, what's still hype, and what you should be doing on your own desk this week, not in 2027. Point 1, 2 tools, 1 headline. This is the single biggest source of confusion, so let's fix it first. The UK didn't ship 1 AI planning tool. It shipped 2, and the press keeps mashing them into one story. The first one is called Extract. It was built by MHCLG's incubator for AI, on top of Google DeepMind's Gemini, and it went live to every council in England in spring 2026. Extract is a document tool. It takes decades of planning PDFs, scanned maps and handwritten notes and turns them into structured georeferenced data. It's live. It runs today. The second one is Augmented Planning Decisions, or APD. That's a totally separate prototype from DeepMind, Google Cloud, and Faculty. APD is the one that reads a householder application, cites policy, summarizes objections, and drafts a first assessment for the officer. And APD is still in alpha in 3 councils. So when you see UK uses AI to halve planning times, just remember one of those tools is a live document digitizer and the other is an alpha decision support prototype. Conflating them is how you misread the whole story. Point 2. The 50% is a goal, not a result. This one matters because it changes how you plan. The 8 weeks to 4 weeks decisions cut in half headline everyone is quoting, that is explicitly a stated goal of the program. It is not a demonstrated outcome. APD is running as an alpha at Barnet, Camden and Dorset. There is no published accuracy rate, no published error rate, no published officer override rate. And the national rollout, according to the government's own language, is from 2027 and only if successful. Read that again. From 2027, if successful. That's direction of travel, not a shipped result. So when I write about this, and when you talk about it to a client, the right verb is aims to or is projected to, not does. The gap between those 2 words is probably the most useful thing a builder can understand about AI right now. Point 3. The fastest number on the table isn't AI. Now here is the fact that reframed the whole story for me. The only real, measured, end-to-end speed up in the UK planning stack a lawful development certificate processed in about 30 minutes versus an hour plus on legacy software did not come from a generative model. It came from PlanX and BOPS, a pair of tools that deliberately use human-authored flowchart rules. Deterministic logic, no LLM in the decision path. The applicant answers structured questions in PlanX, the data flows into BOPS, and the rules run. That's it. And that's the fastest number the program has produced. It's single council from Barnet, and it's self-reported as indicative. I want to be careful not to overstate it. But the pattern is telling, for regulated decision, deterministic and accountable, appears to be generative and impressive. The interesting part is not the model. It's the workflow the model would sit inside. And in this case, the workflow didn't need the model at all. Point 4. The real unlock is the data layer. This is where Extract earns its place, and it's the point I want AEC engineers to actually internalize. Extract's measured wins are narrow, but they're beautiful. A digitization task that used to take a trained planning officer 1 to 2 hours now runs in under 3 minutes for about 10 pence per document. Roughly 100% accuracy on text fields, 94% on dates, and 90% of trace site boundaries hitting 0.8 IOU against ground truth. The pipeline is LLM text extraction, plus vision models with OpenCV and SAM to trace map boundaries into polygons, plus georeferencing to Ordnance Survey coordinates. Now, the government projects this will save 255 hours per council per year. That number is extrapolated from trials across 20 councils. It's an expected figure. not an audited one. And by mid-2026, only about 50 of England's councils were actively using Extract, even though it was available to all of them. So the projection is a projection, but the mechanism is real. And here's what I want you to notice. Extract's actual win is not that Gemini is smart. It's the UK now has a queryable data layer where before it had a filing cabinet, the model turned unstructured documents into structured data. Once you have that data layer, the model on top becomes a swappable commodity. Gemini today, something else in 2 years, doesn't matter. The queryable data you build stays valuable. That is the vertical AI moat, not the model, the data layer. Point 5, what the planners actually say. Because I want to be fair to the profession this is landing on, let's read the room. The Royal Town Planning Institute, the planner's own body, has been supportive but pointed. Their line is that AI must support, not replace planners' judgment. They welcome it for admin work and evidence bases. But their published guidance explicitly names the risks inaccurate outputs from old scans, unclear accountability, copyright, security, de-skilling of junior planners, and a warning I keep coming back to, AI is not neutral. They also flag that scaling one national model across every council means any single flaw becomes systemic. And APD's own design is to tell. Officers have to verify every AI-provided policy citation. People remain the final decision makers. Nobody, and I mean nobody, has publicly answered who is liable when an AI-influenced planning decision is later judicially reviewed. That open accountability question is the real ceiling on this whole program, and it's the question every vendor pitching you autonomous planning AI is dodging. Point 6, what to do on your desk Monday. This is the founder honors part, so let me be direct. If you are an AEC engineer, a small practice, or anyone who submits planning applications, waiting for 2027 is the wrong move. There are 2 things that pay off this year. First, make your submissions machine readable now. If you upload a flat PDF drawing, you sit in the manual validation queue. If you go through PlanX's guided constraint-aware questions, so your submission arrives as structured data, you hit the automated validation path that already produced that 30-minute lawful development certificate. PlanX is in production at 16 English councils with 23 more funded. That speed up is real today, and it has nothing to do with the AI prototype. Second, own your domain's data layer. Clean, structured metadata on your drawings, consistent conventions. Data the planning data platform can ingest without a human rekeying it. And this pattern isn't just the UK, Singapore's Cornet X route submissions through a structured national gateway. Seattle piloted AI permit pre-checks. Australia's ArchiStar auto checks designs against code. Same story every jurisdiction. Whoever turns the domain's documents into structured, checkable data owns the workflow, not whoever has the biggest model. So, quick recap. Extract is live, and it's a document digitizer. APD is alpha, and it's a decision support prototype. The 50% is a goal, not a result. The fastest measured number came from rule-based tools, not generative AI. The real unlock is the structured data layer. The planners are right to ask who's accountable, and your move this week is to ship machine-readable submissions and stop waiting for someone else's model to save you. Next video, I'm going to take one of my own AEC workflows and show, on screen, how I turn a messy drawing set into a structured, queryable data layer that a model can actually work on. That's the part nobody demos. See you there.